You're listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast with holistic entrepreneurs Mandy Rose and Kathleen Hupp. Tune in each Wednesday to discuss holistic approaches to a happier, more fulfilling life and glittery distractions from the mundane. Nothing is off limits in this series, so grab your glass of champagne or your shot of wheatgrass and prepare for complete and fabulous chaos.
All right, guys, we are having a bonus episode today with Courtney, our crystal guru.
Hello.
If you guys didn't catch the first episode that we had on with her, make sure you check it out. She dives in on the science behind crystals, where they come from. She shares a little bit about her favorites, where to buy them, cleansing and clearing them, and a whole bunch more. Make sure you have your notebook ready for that episode. And this one, we are going to dive into 10 ways that we can upgrade our life with crystals. So this one will be really specific, and make sure you take notes, because after this, your life will be totally upgraded in a new way.
So number one, we want to know the placement of crystals. If you put them in frequent places that you're in, what do you put where, and what is the intention of putting them or having them surrounded at all times?
Okay, so I use crystals mainly where I'm going to be. So if I'm going to be at work and I know that I'm going to be moving around a lot, they're going to be in my pocket, because I'm going to be reaching my hands in my pocket a lot, and I'm going to be able to like kind of touch that stone and feel it and get the energy from it and put my focus, refocus my energy into something else, and then start again. So for work, something like my pocket. For driving in the car, something like hanging around the mirror in the car is really, really good. Or like in like a little change spot too in the car is also really good. I put crystals there. Placement, otherwise, like in the home, I put them in my bathtub, like on the windowsill of my bath, like just to kind of remind me of self-love. In my room, under my pillow, next to my bed, on both sides of my bed, I'll split crystals that I have two of, like one on one side, one on the other, to kind of like harmonize with each other.
Ooh.
So different ways just to play with it.
Yeah. Nice. Very practical.
So can you think of anything specific in your house, like for placement wise, like that you'd put a certain stone in a certain place for a certain reason?
Anything for growth I put with my plants, or by areas that I want to grow. So if I have like something in school that I really want to learn and I want to grow with, like, or my journal, I'll put like a growth crystal on top of it. So like a zeolite on top of that, or something that I really want to like mentally focus on maybe more, I'll put like something that's a third eye crystal, or like a blue crystal, a blue calcite, or a labradorite for magic on like whatever I'm working on. So I'll put it by my like hula hoops if I really want to make sure that I'm like working on that more and focusing more on like learning new tricks, or, you know, things like that.
And then protection around the house too, right?
Protection around the house. I always keep, it's really easy on like your, if you have, what is it? Not baseboards, but like the top ones.
The crown molding?
Crown molding. If you have crown molding to like place black tourmaline or something like that up above like the door.
Ooh.
So as you're walking in and out of the door, you're constantly getting that.
And so also along the lines of placement, we'll do a separate point, EMF blockers, electromagnetic frequencies that are shown to be so harmful for us, for our health and our well-being. What do you use to block the EMFs?
Malachite is the primary one that I use. It's amazing. I think you also touched on amazonite, which is really good for that. I keep a piece, like a big chunk, by my keyboard, by my laptop, so that I know it's there. It's constantly there. As I'm doing it, I know it's there. And I don't really move it from that spot unless I'm using it for something else, but then it always goes right back to that spot, because that's kind of like its spot.
Yeah.
It's home.
That's
Can
where
you put
it's
one
needed.
like by your Wi-Fi router?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, putting one by your Wi-Fi router, anywhere where you're having those like electromagnetic pulses come through.
Exposures.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exposure.
that's a good one. So number 2 was EMFs. How about number 3 for communication? How would you use crystals for communication?
Anything that's the color blue, because the blue is going to link to the throat chakra. So angelite is really, really good. This is something I keep by my bed to make sure that I'm like in that divine state when I'm dreaming. My favorite personal for throat that I wear at my throat, and I wear a lot of blue crystals at my throat, is aquamarine and Larimar. Larimar was the first stone that I got, and aquamarine is just known for truth and being able to communicate your truth better, whether you have like trouble with public speaking to clients that you have, just speaking in business or socially in general, like you have anxiety with speaking, something that's related to truth and speaking and that's blue worn at the throat chakra is going to be really, really beneficial.
That's awesome.
So that's something I use all the time. I'm always wearing a blue crystal.
So like asking for a raise.
I'm literally always wearing a blue crystal at my throat because I feel like it can always help me like speak my truth and like be confident to speak, which is something I always want.
That's a good one.
Yeah, very needed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so number 4, you have different shapes of your crystals. Some are round, some are smooth, some are rough, jagged, but you have one that is specifically shaped for kind of massaging knots out of your body.
Yes.
So talk about that one.
So that one has like a pointed edge and then it also has like a rounded edge. So you can use that to really get into like knots that are within like the muscular layers. Whether you're going to like pin the crystal down on the knot and then stretch the muscle so that it like really stretches and holds it open. Or you're just going to use it to like massage, like just something where you're like moving it along in like a fluid way. They really help not only that, but like through my experience with massage therapy, people get very emotional, like with waxing and with being an esthetician. You get in a room with somebody and they're taking care of themselves. So they're thinking about themselves and they're in that mindset where they're like emotionally, their guard is let down. So they're going to become emotional and like having crystals help me with that. So not just using like a tool that's made of metal, but something that's made of something. I'm transferring not only like my skills to that person, but like through that crystal energy healing.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So like my love through that.
Yeah.
So, and I totally want to bring this up now, is they talk about the yoni eggs and like the crystal wands, like the self-pleasure wands, right? So
I haven't heard about the wands.
you haven't? There's wands and then there's the yoni eggs and they're made of like
eggs.
rose quartz, I think, or
You can
like
get
common.
Any crystal really.
Yeah.
So it's just like a tool that's used for self-pleasure. So it either could be like for massage or for like self-pleasure, and they're made from different vibrations.
And the
right?
egg is for tightness too,
And for
right?
strengthening,
Yeah. Strengthen those muscles.
Can be made of a lot of different things, but just the way that they're shaped. So you could have an agate or you could have a quartz or you could have anything really shaped like that. So I guess if you were trying to do, maybe I should look into this, like some like divine feminine energy, like working with maybe, carnelian, a yoni egg that's carnelian, and like using that to like really harness like my fire energy, my willpower, like my accessing my solar plexus, really giving me like the strength like in my femininity to like move forward and take action. Yeah. So like using the crystal for action, but like also using it in that way, like shaped.
Empowerment. Yeah. Because I think I saw ones that were like rose quartz. So let's say like in your relationship, you wanted to get like a massage wand, like just for, couples massages and stuff. You could get like a rose quartz one, right? That would like be for the heart.
Yeah. It would be opening the heart chakra, sending love, like receiving love, and just, rose quartz is always really good for that.
I like it. Okay. How about if you were going to use crystals for focus?
A lot of the times for me, crystals for focus are things that I want to like look into. So like not just something that is completely clear or completely pink, something that you actually have to look at and like maybe move around a little bit, or like as you're moving around it kind of shows different specks of it. So labradorite and moonstone are really good for that because they have those flashes in them. Another one that I really like that I personally use, it's a very small piece that I carry with me, is rutilated quartz. So it's regular clear quartz with inclusion. So like these little strikes, they look like needles going through it of black tourmaline. So it's like protective black tourmaline through this amplification of clear quartz. But because it's so interesting to look at, it's something that you can like place, carry with you in place and then look at as you're trying to focus on something.
So
that one's gorgeous too. It's like a spider web inside the clear quartz.
Anything that's like really interesting to look at that you feel like you could look at for a really long time. Bismuth is another one that's very geometric and rainbow-esque. That's something like anything that you're really going to look at for a long time that you could like contemplate on, like a attraction piece or a conversation piece. Like that would be something you would use for focus.
Yeah. Okay. How about meditation?
Meditation, I love spheres just because I feel like I can take everything in me and put it into a sphere. Like I can wrap my hands around it completely. And I can like look into it and peer into it. So anything that like I can really peer into that I feel like has an inside that I can like get into.
Mm-hmm.
So like a clear quartz where you can kind of see the little rainbows and stuff like that are on the inside of it.
Okay.
But really anything, meditation, you can use any crystal. If you have even the smallest little piece that meant something to you, even if it wasn't like a real crystal, it's just something that, a little rock that you don't know what it is, like you can meditate with that and put your intention into it.
Mm-hmm.
For like meditating too, don't they say, is it your third eye chakra? Which is the spiritual chakra?
The crown is the spiritual one.
The crown?
I think, yeah.
So
Yeah.
anything that's good for crown chakra?
Yeah, all of them. I feel like, I mean, your heart is very spiritual. Like it kind of separates. So you have like your lower chakras, your root, your sacral, which is like your sexual, your creative, and then your your solar plexus, which is like your willpower, and then you have your higher chakras.
Okay.
So it's kind of separate. You have your heart, your third eye, and your crown.
And when you're like meditating with them, where are you placing
Your heart,
them?
throat, third eye, crown. Meditating anywhere. If I feel like I need more on my heart, like I feel it in my heart. If I feel like I need willpower, I'll put it over my stomach or my diaphragm a lot of the time too. If I feel very anxious, I will put a calming stone over my diaphragm and just let something heavy sit on that.
Ooh.
And just meditate with that and feel my breath like in a crystal, like feeling that.
So like reminds you that you're breathing.
That
and
gravity of that crystal pulling down on it. Yeah.
That's awesome. And then you were saying also when you meditate, you can put crystals in both hands.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you do too?
A lot of times when I do massage, I will place crystals in the hands as they're like face down or face up, just because the feeling of that gravity of the weight of the crystal in the palm while you're not moving
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you're grounded in reality.
Mm-hmm. And if it's in the left hand, that's where they're inputting energy. So
Yes.
it would be like whatever stone is in there would, determine certain things.
So anything you have in your left hand, if you're going to wear like a ring on your left hand or you're going to hold something in your left hand, you're going to be in receiving that energy.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's receiving truth, if it's receiving like the grounding properties, if you're wearing it in the right hand, you're going to be putting that out to the world. So if you're really trying to like put out self-love, you're going to wear a lot of like the pink crystals and things on like your right hand.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're trying to be really protective in the things that you put out in the world, you're going to wear black, things like that. Or if you're holding it.
Yeah. Okay, record keeper, what number are we on? We stopped numbering them. We're on like 7 or 8.
I think we're 7. We're on number 7. Let's do depression and anxiety. This is probably a really popular one. How to use crystals to help with that.
I love really looking at like the minerals that are in the crystals. So for example, like if you are diagnosed bipolar, you probably know what lithium is.
Mm-hmm.
So lithium is very grounding, very like basic. Lithium is found in a lot of crystals too. So lepidolite has a lot of lithium, and then lithium quartz too. So lithium quartz just looks like a regular piece of quartz with almost like this purple, pink, gray pieces, inclusions like in them. And those really help balance and strengthen and bring your energy down to like a base level. But from a mineral perspective, like people take lithium to ground them, like if they're, bipolar or depressed or anything like that. And then they can be used in crystals too for like the bioenergetic field with lithium. So it's kind of like you're treating with lithium, just not orally.
Yeah.
Through crystals.
And speaking of orally, number 8, charging your water with crystals to either drink or use in a bathtub or
Okay.
go for it.
So I like to do mine an indirect method. So that would be using like a mason jar to put all of my crystals in that I want to use their properties, filling it with water, and then putting that inside something with water, and then using the water that's inside that. So taking like a pitcher, filling it with water, and then putting something, a mason jar inside that's filled with crystals. So my crystals are never actually touching the water, just in case they may have something like arsenic or something in them that they're made with, like bumblebee jasper has arsenic in it. Just so in case they're tumbled and they may have a piece that's broken off or anything like that, the mineral composition isn't getting into the water that we're ingesting. We're just taking the energetic properties of the crystals and then amplifying the water with that.
Perfect. Okay, so what about heartbreak?
Heartbreak, I really like. For me, I love black tourmaline. That's always been a protective stone for me. So from that, I kind of branched off and like I love any kinds of tourmaline. So if you have a stone that you really like and it's offered in different colors, like really look into those colors, because if you like black tourmaline but you need something for, you know, your heart, you might find that pink tourmaline works really, really well for you, better than rose quartz. So even though they're both meant for heart, you really resonate with tourmaline. Tourmalines like are amazing for you. I love pink tourmaline, so that's something I would use for heartbreak.
Awesome. I love that. And then our last one,
Number 10.
which is kind of a big one, so I'm glad we saved it till the end, is chakra balancing. So we kind of touched on this a little bit as far as placements, but all our chakras, like you said, mean different things. So could you kind of just like run through, maybe like go from the root up to the crown and just explain like where you'd have a block and then how you would use a crystal to unblock you?
Okay. So starting from the bottom, you have your base chakra. That's going to be where you need like your grounding, healing. If you feel like you're out of place in either your home or like maybe what you're doing with your career, what your life path, you feel like just kind of out of place, that would be somewhere where you wanted to ground. Or maybe you come home and you're so focused in work that you really need to like ground yourself in order to like make dinner and get everything done and just feel like you're in a different atmosphere of your life. Crystals for that would really, a lot of the chakra crystals go with the color of the chakra. So black and red are going to be your root chakra crystals. A lot of your metals are going to be your root chakra crystals, and anything that's heavy is going to be very grounding for the root chakra. And then also like looking into just stones, if you look into what element they're formed with, sometimes they're formed with like, you know, a lot of earth elements, so they're earth elemental, even though they may be green or purple or something, they may carry an earth element that's grounding.
Perfect.
Going on from that, sacral chakra, which is like your creativity, your childlike nature, your sexuality, like your ability to just be yourself. And these are all like your first three chakras are like within you. That would be all your orange stones. So carnelian and sometimes citrine can be peppered in there too. A lot of agates, things that help stimulate that. A lot of tantric crystals too, like the sacral is connected to the tantric yoga and stuff like that. And then your solar plexus, which is going to be your diaphragm, which is all of your breath work, all of your willpower, like your actions, what you do throughout the day. And those are all yellow crystals. So all of your like optical yellow calcite is one that I like a lot. I'll put that on my diaphragm. And that's something that I can actually look into too and see kind of like what I want for my future and put my intentions into. Then going up from there, the heart chakra, anything pink, green, rose quartz, jade is really, really common, especially in like Eastern healing. Jade is really common, a lot in the mats too. Those really help with anything emotional. So if you're dealing with anything emotional, breakups, family relationships, things at work, things that you're dealing with in yourself that you may be trying to heal, like emotions that you may want to amplify or figure out why you're having them and kind of like minimize them, those can really help. And really manifesting with those crystals helps a lot.
Perfect.
More than I feel like any other stones. Like you really need to manifest with your heart crystal stones. And then throat, third eye, and crown, those are all going to be like your external, well, including the heart, because you're going out with the heart. That's kind of like the bridge way through. But your throat and your third eye and your crown are going to be how you like visualize the rest of the world. So those are going to be like your darker stones, your purples, your blues, things like that as far as color. And then placing them right on. I like to wear a lot of my throat stones like as a necklace. That helps a lot. But blue stones for throat, first off, I can think of like aquamarine is amazing just because of like the truth that it gives you and to bring to like situations. And then third eye and crown, amethyst all the way.
Amethyst all the way.
Amethyst all the way. And like you can sit there and put it on your, like literally on your forehead as you're laying down in bed, or like maybe place it on the top of your head and just lay down, just see how it feels. And especially with diaphragm too. Diaphragm and the crown are the ones that I feel like when placed, you actually feel what it's doing.
I love that.
What a good synopsis of the chakras and how crystals can help balance them.
That was perfect.
you.
I'm glad we
Thank
saved
you.
that until the end.
Yeah, grand finale.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing this all with us, Courtney.
Thank you so much for letting me like pour all of this out of me.
Yeah.
10 perfect ways to upgrade your life with crystals. I think we nailed it.
Yes. That concludes our bonus episode. So tune in next week for more.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Whether you're cleansing or celebrating.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast. If you loved today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Join the Wheatgrass and Champagne community on Instagram, Facebook, and wheatgrassandchampagne.com. Details from this episode can be found in the show notes below. Tune in next Wednesday as we continue to seek the perfect balance between indulging and upgrading. Until then, cheers.